Hi, Mallory. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm so excited to have you on.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to this. I'm really excited to have a chat and talk everything music.
Yeah. So how have things been going? Like, what have you been up to lately?
Honestly, I've been up to a lot,
Yeah.
which is a nice problem to have. It's been super busy. I just finished a record. I got some masters back. Top of the Country has been going on. So we were in Toronto briefly recording for that. And yeah, it's just been a whirlwind, kind of having fun with all this new music and now kind of figuring out, the artwork and how we're putting everything together and the marketing plan and all the business side of things now. Yeah, so
Awesome.
it's been
Awesome. I'm excited to hear it.
thanks.
Yeah. So let's get right into it.
Yeah.
So what made you get into music in the first place?
Honestly, I don't think I had a choice. I grew up in a very musical family. My mother actually is a country artist as well. So she was literally on stage 9 months pregnant with me.
Aw.
So I came out of the womb listening to music. And I grew up listening to her sing like Coat of Many Colors and some Patsy Cline and Merle Haggard. My dad is a big country music fan as well. So I kind of was bit by the bug very early. First time on stage, I was 3 years old. So I kind of never really envisioned myself doing anything else. I grew up, obviously, like I said, in the musical family, and then also being from Newfoundland and Labrador, I grew up around a lot of Celtic music and traditional Irish Newfoundland music. So I was in a family band with my mom and my uncle and my cousin. When I was 11, we formed that band. And we recorded multiple albums. We toured the country, we toured Scotland, we toured a little bit in the US. And yeah, so I was in a van as a preteen, lugging in equipment and singing on stages, packing up and hitting the next city. So I guess I kind of say I never really got into music. I was already in it.
I love that. You're just born into it.
Born into it, not complaining.
Were you a singer in the family band?
I was one of the lead singers. So myself and my mom and my uncle, we kind of split all the lead vocals and then we would harmonize on each other's songs. But I also was the keyboard player. Piano is also my first instrument, even though I don't play it a lot right now in my live shows. Sometimes if it's a longer set, I'll whip it out and do a nice ballad. I normally play guitar during my shows now, but that is my first instrument.
Awesome. Do you play any other instruments or just piano and guitar?
It's mainly just piano and guitar. I mean, I think I can probably fake a couple of instruments if I really wanted to. This one time I taught music for a few years as well. And this one time I had to sub in for a ukulele teacher. And literally the half hour before the lesson, I was trying to figure out how to play the ukulele so I could teach this kid. So yeah, I would say I could probably fake a few instruments, but yeah, mostly piano, guitar.
Nice. Well, you got to do what you got to do.
Exactly.
Awesome. So you picked 3 of your own songs and 3 songs that have inspired or influenced you in some way. And the first song you have for us is called Wise Woman with Twin Kennedy. So what's the story behind that song?
So that is a very special song for me. I say this all the time, but it's true. It's the most important song I've ever been a part of writing, producing, performing. That song kind of came about a couple of years ago now. And I was invited over to Twin Kennedy's house, Julie and Carly, when they were living together here in Nashville. And I was invited over one evening for a songwriting session. And we are very close friends. So usually when you invite your close friends over in the evening for a songwriting session, you don't really get work done. You show up with wine and the cheese and the charcuterie, you sit down and you snack and you just talk about what's going on. You gossip, talk about the industry, all that fun stuff. And so this particular night, we were out on their back patio. It was really nice weather and the pretty string lights and had the bottle of wine and of course the charcuterie board. And Carly goes inside the house to grab her guitar. And she came out and she said, I have this title that I really want to write. And this title is Wise Woman. And I immediately got goosebumps. I was like, I don't know where she was going with this title, but I'm already hooked. I am so excited to be here. And then she started to sing a few lines that she had already written. And honestly, to this day, we didn't change those lines. We kept those lines. I don't remember if it's the first verse or the second verse in the song, but we didn't change them. And when she sang these lines, I started to get emotional. Her sister Julie started to get emotional. And we spent the night continuing with our wine, but we spent the night just sharing our stories, the beautiful things about being a woman in the music industry, but also a lot of the challenges of being a woman in a very male-dominated country music industry. And yeah, so that's kind of how the song kind of started. The song kind of wrote itself. It was one of those work tapes that literally on the way home from the write, I just played over and over and over. And I was really excited about it. The twins were really excited about it. We both were working on new projects and we all wanted to release the song. So it made sense to make it a collaboration. And considering what the context and the content of the song, it made sense to release it as a duo or trio, I guess you could kind of call it. But yeah, so it's been the most beautiful ride with that song. It's our girl power anthem that just has a lot of honesty and a lot of truth to it for us, but also it's been resonating with women in so many different industries, and particularly industries that are very male dominated as well. So we wanted to capture that in the music video, which is my favorite part of the whole Wise Woman project is the video. And my brother directed that, and we shot that in the middle of a pandemic, I might add, in Newfoundland, where I'm originally from, in BC, where the twins are originally from, and here in Nashville. And it was such a passion project. It was a very big project, but just the end result, it was so amazing to feature so many women. We had our moms in there, we had our sisters, we had our best friends, we had mentors. Everybody in that video, like that's the role that's their career that they do in real life. We didn't have any actors in that video. And well, there were a couple actors, but that's their job. They act. So we featured them as actors. But yeah, it was just a very rewarding process, and to be able to showcase so many beautiful women and what they do. Yeah. So.
And you won an award for that at the Music Newfoundland Award.
Yes, we did. We won the video of the year, the musicnl video of the year, and it's currently also nominated for the East Coast Music Award for video of the year. So super stoked about that.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And how did you connect with Twin Kennedy in the first place?
So that connection was actually made through a mutual friend of ours. Her name's Andrea England, and she is a phenomenal songwriter based in Toronto. And I lived in Toronto for a year before I moved to Nashville. So that's how I met Andrea. And she caught wind that I was coming to Nashville for a songwriting trip before I moved here. And she said, I have to hook you up with Twin Kennedy. I think you guys would get along really, really great. And I'm so thankful she did, because now I can't picture my life without they're some of my closest friends, and I've written some of my best music with them. 3 of the songs on my new record I wrote with them. So
awesome. I love that. Well, let's get to that song. So here is Wise Woman with Twin Kennedy. So how did you get into songwriting?
That's a really good question. I feel like I've been writing forever. Like as a kid, I was always writing poems and things like that. But my first time writing a song and actually recording a song that I wrote was when I was 11 with my family band. And yeah, it was surreal. I think that was kind of when I got bit by the songwriting bug. I always wanted to be like, as a kid, I was like, I'm going to be a pop star, like obsessed with Britney Spears. And then I was obsessed with Shania Twain. So, but yeah, for the songwriting, I was 11 when I kind of was like, I want to be a songwriter just as much as I want to be a singer. That art form is so important to me, and authenticity in this business is key. So if you don't relate to what you're singing, whether you write that or not, I'm a firm believer that you can find songs that are literally, they speak your truth that you might not have been able to do yourself. But yeah, the songwriting is so important to me, because if I don't connect to it, how do I expect my listeners to connect to it? And it's a way to be vulnerable and wear your heart on your sleeve and just kind of unite everybody and make everybody feel like what they're going through, they're not alone in that. As cliche and everyone says that as a songwriter, but it's true. It's true. It helps people say things that they might not have been able to say themselves.
Awesome. And you do a lot of co-writing as well, right?
I do. I love co-writing. I actually, ever since I moved to Nashville, I've been doing a lot more co-writing than ever. It's very rarely that I write by myself. But co-writing is so cool because you kind of have a mixing pot of different strengths. So for me, I feel like I'm a better lyricist than I am to figure out melodies. I find when I write by myself, a lot of my melodies tend to end up being very similar. So I like being in the room with someone who's really strong with melody, and it's really cool to have a producer or like a track person in the room. So you can walk away with like a full demo, and it's just really cool to have these different perspectives and different strengths all kind of attacking the same goal. And I think the song comes out better that way.
Nice. So you moved from Newfoundland to Nashville fairly recently, right?
You know
A
what?
few years ago?
It's been like, it'll be 5 years.
Oh, has it been that long? Okay.
I know, it's crazy. It has flown. And so I went to, like I said, I went to Toronto first, and then I came here, but I mean, I split my time pretty evenly. I'm in Newfoundland a lot. I'm actually going to Newfoundland pretty soon for a month. So I always know when I'm going home, so I don't really get a chance to miss people, because I'm like, well, I'll see you in a couple months kind of thing. But yeah, so it's coming up 5 years in the fall.
Wow. How has that move? Like, how has that like changed your music or your perspective on things? Or
Oh, so awesome. Honestly, like when I first left Newfoundland and went to the big city, I didn't think I would like the big city, but I loved it. I loved that so much. And then Nashville was kind of always the end goal for me. As the country music artist, it was always like, what would I regret more? Like, what if I don't go to Nashville? Like, at least have to experience it. Even if I fall on my face, at least I could say I did it. And this city forces you to grow, or it forces you to leave. You know, you either take it as motivation or you take it as like, no, you know what, I don't have, no, I'm not doing this. But it's helped me grow so much as a writer. I think it's very important to try as often as you can to be the worst writer in the room, so you can learn from better writers. Yeah, more than anything, the songwriting for me has been the biggest change from being here, because you do it so much. The only way to get better at something is by doing it more. And this is a songwriting town. So yeah, it's been amazing, an amazing move. And I'm lucky to have a wonderful support system here. I actually have family here, and a lot of my really close girlfriends that I can lean on who are also in industry, and we can kind of talk about similar struggles or challenges that we go through and kind of lean on each other. So yeah, I mean, the friendship is and the support is very important, because as we know, you need a strong backbone in this industry. You know, nothing's guaranteed. So there's definitely down days and you hear a lot of no's, but it's, you know, you need to have, like I said, the backbone and the support system, and just the motivation to want to be better.
So, yeah, that's great. And that's totally the place to do that, where you have like all the best of the best and everybody's there. So it's great.
Yeah, it's good.
Do you have a favorite spot in Nashville? Like if someone was traveling there, where would you send them?
Well, I mean, you always have to go to the Opry, the Grand Ole Opry. I mean, that tour is amazing, and that place is iconic. So the Opry and the Ryman are always the top of the list. And I mean, all those kind of tours. The Hall of Fame is cool, the RCA studio, to walk up and down Music Row and Printer's Alley, and everybody wants to go to Broadway. So, you know, you got to get all that party stuff out. But I really, really enjoy going to songwriter venues. I love the listening room. The Bluebird's amazing if you happen to be able to get a ticket. That place sells really quickly. Yeah, in terms of venues and music, I like to go to kind of the stuff that's maybe a little more off the grid, a little bit off of the Broadway, to kind of hear where the stories come from of your favorite songs that you hear on the radio.
Awesome. Those are great selections. Well, let's get to some more music. So the next song you have for us is Two More Bottles of Wine by Emmylou Harris. Yes. So why'd you pick that song?
So, well, I'm a huge fan of Emmylou Harris. I grew up on a lot of the classics and those powerful women. But I chose Emmylou because before I moved to Nashville, myself and a friend of mine, Chad Murphy, who's also my guitar player, we came for a writing trip to Nashville. And it was the week of my 27th birthday. And he got us tickets to see Emmylou and the Nash Ramblers at the Ryman Auditorium. And I had never been to the Ryman. To me, like the Ryman and the Opry, that's like the pinnacle. Like I need to get a new dream. Once I achieve that, that's like, I need to start looking for my next dream, because that's just to be in that room is just so magical. And yeah, so he got us tickets to see her, and it was just a really, really special day. And I always cover that song in my live show as well. And yeah, I just want to, you know, celebrate powerful women in the country music genre. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, here is Two More Bottles of Wine by Emmylou Harris. So I read you had an opportunity to be in a movie.
Oh, I did. That was like an interesting, how that came to be. One day my manager called me up and she said, "Hey, want to go audition for this film?" I was like, okay, what do I have to lose? That's kind of like a motto what I live by. What's the worst someone could say to me? No?
Yeah.
Like, all right, cool. But if they say yes, awesome. So I went to this audition and my manager told me to bring my guitar, even though it wasn't a singing role by any means. She was like, "I just want you to go perform for them and have fun, whatever." So I went to this audition and I did like a cold read of some of the lines. Had to use a Southern accent, so I immediately apologized. I was like, "I'm from Newfoundland. Like, I do not have, like, I'm gonna butcher this accent right now." Anyway, so uncomfortable. I mean, I knew I wasn't gonna get a part. I was like, "This is fun, but like, whatever. Walk away with some friends. It's fine." But before I left the audition, they were like, "Well, we see you have your guitar. Like, do you want to sing for us?" So I sang an original song of mine. And it was kind of like a tongue-in-cheek, quirky kind of thing, and just for fun. And the director, I could see the gears turning in his head, and he was like, "Do you know any war songs by chance?" Because this movie was based on the Civil War. So he's like, "Do you know any war music?" And I was like, "Actually, as a matter of fact, I recorded a war song, an old folk song with my family band years ago. And I literally hadn't sang this song in like 20 years. Maybe not 20, but like 15 years." And so I tried to like fake my way through it, and that was fine. And then I left, and a few days later they called. They were like, "Yeah, so we're gonna write a part into the movie for her, and we want her to sing like write music for the film, and we want her to sing in the film." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." So next thing you know, I'm in Knoxville on a movie set and singing in this like really beautiful, like kind of like graveyard haunting scene, singing this beautiful ballad that I wrote with Twin Kennedy. So I wrote Wise Woman. We wrote some songs for this film.
Cool.
And and I wrote like 4 songs for this movie. And yeah, so that's kind of how that came out.
Nice. And the movie's called Into the Wilderness, right?
You know what, it was, but I believe they changed the title. I believe it's Marbles and Bullets now, and it's not out yet. I know that there's still no, there's still like post-production. The pandemic, like everything.
Okay.
It delayed everything, so they're still in the editing process of it.
Yeah, because I was like trying to find it. I was trying to see like, oh, where is it? I wanted to see her in it.
Yeah, because we filmed that feels like a few years ago now. It feels like 2018 or something when we did that. But yeah, movies take so long to put together anyway. But yeah, they delayed it.
Well, then I'm gonna have to look for it now when it comes out. Yeah. And you also said you had a bit of musical theater experience, I think I read.
I do. Growing up, I like a lot of us vocalists, performers, I took voice lessons, piano lessons, all that jazz, dance lessons, all through my childhood and into high school. But so I was very much involved in musical theater. So from the age of 7, I think, till just a few years ago, I was doing main stage productions at the local theaters with local theater companies in St. John's, Newfoundland. I got to play Amber in Hairspray, which was really fun. I got to be the villain. I'm like not the type of person who necessarily wants the leading damsel in distress princess role. I like to be like the funny sidekick or the villain, because they get the cool music and they get the the punchlines and I really like making people laugh. That's kind of my thing. I have also done a lot of dinner theater with this company called Spirit of Newfoundland, and they're family to me. And I still, every time I'm able to do a show with them, I do. Like I only did a show with them, earlier this year. And yeah, so with that, obviously that's comedy. The dinner theater is a lot of comedy. So unless I'm making people laugh, like that's my favorite thing to do. I either want to make you cry or I want to make you laugh.
Awesome. Nice. Well, we're gonna go to, I think, more crying with this next song. This next song you have is called Drunk Mind, Sober Heart.
Yeah.
What's the story behind that song?
So that was an accidental write. It was St. Paddy's Day in 2018. And myself and my roommate at the time, Kristen Bellows, and then our friend Tennille Arts, we were all celebrating St. Patty's Day at my apartment. And we spent like all the day. This was like a day thing. And I'm being from Newfoundland, like I'm celebrating St. Patty's Day like no one's business. Like I was everything green, all the drinks. I mean, honestly, we didn't have green beer. I'm not a huge beer drinker, so we were having margaritas. And I had like a playlist on Spotify of all this Irish Newfoundland music going. And yeah, we kind of just spent the day drinking and barbecuing, just having a really good time and like a girls' night. And 12:30 rolls around and one of us gets a text from an ex-boyfriend being like, what's up? Are you up? That kind of text,
Yeah.
And it was like, the eye roll. Like this is like after midnight, St. Patty's Day. Like obviously everybody's drinking. So, and Tennille's response was her back was to me and Kristen, and she was mixing up another pitcher of margaritas. And she was like, just off the cuff, she was like, a drunk mind speaks a sober heart. And then me and Kristen just kind of like paused and we looked at each other and we kind of just looked back to Neil and said, has that song been written? Of course, the songwriters and us, we're always actively listening for those folks, right? So we were like, has that song been written? And so we got on Google, literally 12:30 at night, got on Google to see if that title had been taken by another artist or if that song kind of already been done. And we didn't really find anything. So we sat down 12:30, 1 a.m. and wrote this heartbreaking ballad. And I'm so happy we did because I just fell in love with the song and of course released it as a single. And yeah, I'm so proud of it. And it's also going on the new record. So
nice. Yeah, it's such a great line.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love that song. It's beautiful.
Thanks.
Well, here's that song. Here is Drunk Mind, Sober Heart. So you are part of the SiriusXM Top of the Country competition.
Ooh.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's still going on, right?
It is. Yeah,
okay.
It's going to be going on all summer. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure. So how's that experience been for you? And what's the competition like all about?
I mean, it's been so amazing. That contest has, I think it's probably the biggest emerging artist program that a Canadian country artist can be involved in. There's 8 of us who were selected from across the country to be a part of this program. And so the first step was we all get to record a new song in studio and they shoot a video at the same time. And then those videos will go live in the spring, coming up sometime soon. They haven't given us an exact date. And then fans vote on those videos. And then the top 3 go on to play this really big showcase at the Canadian Country Music Awards and the potential to win $25,000. There's a mentorship session. It's just an amazing program to be a part of in terms of exposure and getting to know more people in the industry and kind of strengthening your brand. And yeah, it's really special to be a part of. And I'm so excited to finally be a part of it. I've had my eyes on this contest since it started. Before it started, when it used to be, I guess, the discovery program with ECMA, and then this kind of molded into what it is now. But it's an amazing opportunity for new or rising artists to kind of get their stuff out there. Yeah.
And did you have to like audition for it? Did you send in a video or how does that work?
Yeah, so it was just an online application through SiriusXM, and we just submit a video, kind of give some of our information, where we're from, and then they go from there. They choose, they try to make it nice across from one coast to the other. So I'm happy to be representing East Coast. So yeah. So it's really cool, and some friends of mine are in it as well. So we're all kind of rooting for each other. So yeah, it's nice. Fun.
Well, go vote for Mallory when that's out. Yes. And what does country music mean to you?
Oh gosh, what does it not mean to me? I've learned so many things from country music. It's the storytelling, it's the truth, it's, what we live by, it's, I don't really, it's such like a broad,
I know.
a broad thing. I just love it so much. I mean, I love music in general, but for me, I'm all about the story. I'm all about telling my story and telling other people's story, and kind of passing that on.
Nice. I love that. So let's get to some more music. The next song you have for us is All Your Favorite Bands by Dawes.
Yes.
So why did you pick this song?
So I'm obsessed with this band. I love Dawes so much, and All Your Favorite Bands is one of my favorite songs of all time. This song, I mean, I've covered it a lot as well, but when I was making this new record of mine, originally I was going to do an EP. And then one night I was at Julie and Carly's house. Like I said, I've written a lot of my best music I've written with them. A few of the songs on the record, they're co-writers on as well. So I was at their place and I was saying, you know, I have these handful of songs I'm really excited about for the record, but I feel like, and this is the artist in me, like, I feel like I don't have this common theme or thread kind of flowing through all the songs. I want a concept. I want some kind of continuity. I want all the songs to make sense with each other. I feel like I'm missing a song that kind of wraps it in a pretty bow. You know, I have the love song, I have the heartbreak songs, I have the drinking songs, I have the smoking songs, but like, I felt like I wanted something that kind of just gave all those songs a hug. And so we were trying to pick like hooks out of thin air. And I went through my phone. I was like, well, let me just check through my phone again to see if I have any lines that I had put down in my notes app or whatever. So I went back, and ages ago, I had written down this line: I hope somebody throws you a surprise party. And I was like, well, that's the line. That is the line. That reminds me of All Your Favorite Bands by Dawes, because that kind of inspired the whole session. And yeah, so we kind of wrote this song about, you know, how beautiful it is for someone to go out of their way, whether you like surprises or not, I don't care. But for someone to go out of their way to organize this event and celebrate you, just to see a smile on your face, just so you feel, you know, loved. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was such a beautiful sentiment, which really did remind me of All Your Favorite Bands. And yeah, so the song was just about, you know, spreading that love and hoping the best for somebody. And yeah, so that's kind of my version of All Your Favorite Bands, because I just love that song and that sentiment so much.
And is that going to be on your new album?
It is. Yes. And not All Your Favorite Bands.
No, I know. Yeah. The new one, the song
yes.
you wrote. And you also did a cover of this song with Twin Kennedy for your Music with Malbec series.
I did. I'm glad you got that. Thank you. And actually, Dawes commented on our Instagram.
Oh, no way.
I know, I died. I was so excited. Yeah.
I love the fiddle in it. One of the girls.
Julie's amazing.
So go check that out if you haven't seen it yet. And in the meantime, here is All Your Favorite Bands by Dawes. So music isn't always the easiest of career paths. So what motivates you to keep working towards your dreams?
Honestly, it's the passion. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't really visualize myself doing anything else. You know, I did go to university. I did get a degree in primary elementary education. That was something my family was very, you know, they were like, we want to support you in this Nashville dream in music, but we want you to get an education. And I wanted that for myself too. But yeah, for me, it's like, I can't visualize, I can't imagine doing anything else. I don't really have a plan B. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could whip one up quick, I think, if I needed to, but yeah, I mean, it's, like I said, it's tough. It's a tough career choice because it's so unpredictable and it's not a guaranteed thing. You can't just necessarily go to school for it and send in an application and be like, okay, here's your job. You know, you're guaranteed. It's a very much show to show, paycheck to paycheck kind of situation. But honestly, it's passion. I love it. I love that I get to do it as my job. It's a high, you know, it's like being on stage and being in the studio and songwriting and performing. It's an adrenaline rush in the best way.
Awesome. And it's kind of like you've always been around it. So it's kind of like you don't really know anything else too.
And you know what? And a lot of it goes to with the support system. Like I was talking about, like my family are, like I said, very much into music. My mom is a touring musician. Yeah. So I do have that support system with my family, which I know is not always the case for people. So I consider myself very lucky to have that support.
Yeah, that's great. And what's one lesson you've learned so far in your music career?
Oh, lesson. So many. I mean, I think patience is very important. I think, like I said, authenticity is very important. I think if you love it, do it. Music is such a bias. Like it's, you know, someone's going to love it. Someone's going to hate it. If you love it, you do it.
Yeah.
You know, and you keep going. I mean, because you're going to hear no. We hear no a lot more often than we hear yes, but it also makes the victories a little sweeter. when you get them. And yeah, that's just be a kind person, work hard. No one's going to work harder for you than you. It doesn't matter what kind of team surrounds you. Yeah, work hard, patience. Nothing is overnight. Even though it might seem like an overnight success, that does not exist.
Yeah.
Unless you go TikTok viral. So that's a whole other conversation. Yeah.
Darn TikTok.
Yeah, that was multiple lessons. Sorry, I kind of rambled on that.
No, it's great. It all kind of goes together though.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So the next song you have for us is your song called Hungover.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the story behind that song?
So that was very much a literal, that was exactly how we were feeling the day we wrote it. So the night before I had this morning writing session with Kristen Bellows, who again was my roommate at the time, and a friend of ours from LA who was visiting. Her name's Christy Huff. So we had a writing session 10 a.m. like, I don't know, like a Saturday morning. But Friday night we went out with a bunch of girls. We had a girls' night and we went to a restaurant opening in like Midtown area in Nashville. And we went because they were advertising 2-for-1 margaritas.
Oh.
And your girl loves a margarita. And so there's literally like 8 or 10 of us at this restaurant opening, double fisting margaritas. And we were sitting around the bar area. And this gentleman, this older gentleman, kept trying to like work his way in, you know, to the conversation. And some of the girls were just like not having it. They're like, oh, this guy, like, come on, we're just trying to have a good time. I mean, props to him, because there's a lot of us girls, that's intimidating. Like a large group of women, like, you know, this guy's got balls. So anyway, so he kind of works his way in, and I piped in and I was like, guys, this could turn into 5-for-1 margaritas if we play our cards right and we're nice to this guy. Like, don't be so much to brush him off, right? So anyway, so we ended up having conversations with him, and he did offer us some drinks. He's like, can I get you guys more tequila? And we were like, sure, our drinks are getting low. So of course. So he gets up from his bar stool and he walks around to the other side of the bar, like the inside of the bar, and pulls off some fancy tequila off the top shelf and starts filling up our margaritas, pouring us shots. And we were like, who is this guy? Turns out he was the owner of the restaurant. So we did not have any empty glasses for the rest of the night. It was a great night. And we did not feel good the next morning.
Well,
so
yeah.
into that writing session. So that's kind of how Hungover came to be.
Nice. I love that story. Yeah. I like how you managed to get the owner.
I know, right? And like, honestly, he said the most awesome thing to us before we left. We're like, okay, so why, we even asked him, we're like, why are you giving us all of this tequila? Like, there's a lot of us here, and he just this free pouring, right? And he was like, well, I want you guys to have a good time, so you come back and bring more friends. I was like, oh, that's the way you do it. I mean, we will definitely be back, you know? So
have you been back?
I have, actually.
Yeah.
I was back a couple of times. Yeah, their queso was good.
Awesome. Yeah. I love that story. Well, here is Hungover. So this next part is 5 quick questions. It's just for fun, whatever comes to the top of your mind first. So the first question is, what is your favorite snack food?
Chips. Oh my gosh. I even go to the store to buy, I'm sorry, this is quick. I can ramble. Okay. I go to the store to get the individual Pringle packs. So I eat them in moderation, but then I just sit down and I eat like 5. I have no self-control when it comes to chips.
What's your favorite flavor?
It depends. If I eat a lot, it has to be the original. Okay. But I do love a sour cream and onion. I'm a sucker for those.
One place you would love to travel to?
Oh gosh, so many places. I mean, I haven't been to Australia yet. I'd like to go to Thailand. I'd like to go to, oh my gosh, I really want to go back to the UK and just explore, because I haven't spent a lot of time over there. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm up for anything at this point. The last couple of years.
Yeah.
take me anywhere. Take that flight. Yeah.
One language you'd love to learn?
Italian.
Ooh, nice.
I think Italian's so sexy.
It is.
Like, it's so pretty. You could say like the most ugly thing, but it still sounds pretty.
Yeah. Nice. Cats or dogs?
Dogs, for sure. I'm always a dog person. Yeah.
And
unless the cat acts like a dog, then maybe the cat.
Favorite TV show?
Oh gosh. Oh, so many. Well, I'm always Game of Thrones fan. I like Vikings. I like all of the intense dramas.
Oh yeah.
But I do love a good, you know, like The Bachelor. I mean, I don't really watch The Bachelor anymore, but all of those cheesy,
Yeah.
like Married at First Sight, like all those shows, I get hooked on those. Oh my gosh, I waste so much time watching those shows.
I got really into that Love is Blind.
Yes.
In the pandemic,
Yeah.
as everybody did, kind of. But,
Oh, it's wild. Yeah.
and where can people find you?
Well, I'm all over the socials, even on TikTok. It took me a long time to commit to that, but I'm very new to TikTok. Yeah, so my website is MalloryJohnsonMusic.com. And on Facebook, my handle is Mallory Johnson Music. And then on Instagram and Twitter, and I think TikTok, it's Mal Johnson Music.
Awesome. And I'll have that all linked below in the show description, so you don't have to go search for it. It's all just right there.
Yay.
So the last song you have for us is Coat of Many Colors by Dolly Parton. So why'd you pick this song?
So that is my favorite song of all time. Dolly Parton is, I mean, apart from my mom being my biggest inspiration in music, Dolly Parton's a close number 2. I just adore her. I think she is just the epitome of everything I'd ever want to be, or even try to be. I mean, I don't think I'd ever be able to reach the accomplishment she's reached, but she's just, as a storyteller, as an artist, as a person, as an entrepreneur, she's just brilliant, and she's kind. And so Coat of Many Colors, again, was a song I grew up listening to my mother sing. And I have very vivid memories at a very young age, just looking out the window and seeing my mom, like, so my aunt and uncle had this farmhouse, and they would have like this festival basically in our backyard. And I remember looking out the window and watching my mom perform the song on stage when I was supposed to be in bed. Yeah, I love this song so much. And every time I play it live and my mom happens to be in the audience, I bring her up on stage to sing it with me. And she always steals the show, but it's fine. But it's a really beautiful, special moment. I'll never get sick of singing that song. And it's my favorite song.
And you did, she joined you on that song with that, what's it called?
The Music with Malbec.
Yeah, Music with Malbec.
So she's on one of those as well. I hope to continue those videos, actually. But yeah, she's on one of the first, I think I did like maybe 8 of them, I think. But she's on one of those. We're doing Coat of Many Colors. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. So again, go check that out. Well, thank you so much for joining me and coming on.
Thank you. This has been so much fun.
And thanks so much for listening, and be sure to come back next week for more country music.